Hello everyone. On behalf of Institute of Professional Excellence in Management, I, Anubha Gaumat, extend a warm welcome to the international webinar on digital resources and other OERs in teaching learning process. In order to start this webinar on a good note and with the blessings of Ma Saraswati, a small lamp lighting ceremony will now take place. I would like to invite all the dignitaries on the stage to kindle the lamp for the ceremony. Starting the session with a brief introduction of our institute. Established as an independent educational institute, IPEM is aimed at imparting value-based education all across India. Excelling quality standards, the success story of IPEM is turning into a saga of excellence. Backed by knowledge and well-learned faculty, the institute advances innovation and excellence by organizing intellectual sessions, spirited and acrimonious debates, interactive lectures, and other programs. Industry-centered approach, meticulously fabricated curriculum, student-oriented teaching, comprehensive lessons, and other valuable approaches reckoned by India's best institute put it at the highest podium. With great pleasure, I would like to share that in collaboration with National Assessment and Accreditation Council, Ariel University Israel, Chaudhry Charan Singh University, CT Department of IPEM is organizing an international conference with topic Revamping Higher Education System, Vision, Insight and Implications on 25th March 2023. In this venture, we look forward to your kind presence and valuable contribution to research paper. As we look forward to your participation in this exciting journey, you can register for this by visiting our website. The registration link is also shared in the chat box of this webinar for your ready reference. The last date for the abstract submission is 30th December 2022. Traditional education is no longer the center of attention. The modern education industry is no longer bound by time or space. The digital transformation in the education sector has accelerated immeasurably, causing a shift towards online and cloud-based delivery platforms from primary to higher education. Dr. Vinay Kumar Dutt, our eminent speaker, is with us today to speak more about this and enhance our knowledge about the same. Dr. Kumar Dutt is currently working as a managing director and educational consultant at Silka, Mauritius, and has also been an associate professor at Mahatma Gandhi Institute, Mauritius. He has done his doctorate in Mauritian Hindi literature from University of Mauritius and has a rich experience of more than 20 years. He has been working as a trainer in innovative pedagogies and content learning management systems since last 17 years and has also creating content and is a multimedia pedagogical practitioner. His rich experience cannot be summarized in few words. Without delaying any further, I would like to invite Mr. Kumar Dutt to kindly share his views on the topic.
Good morning, everyone. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes. Thank you, Anubhaji. Thank you for this welcome. And I hope Dr. Nishi Sharma is there, the principal, and Dr. Viditi Rastogi. So thank you again for giving me this opportunity to present something on OERs and digital learning resources. I'm going to share my PowerPoint. Just let me know if it is visible, please. Is it okay?
Yes, sir.
Yes. So thank you again. Thank you for inviting me to this international conference webinar on digital resources and other OERs in teaching learning process. And I thank IPEM also and the Center for Teacher Education at IPEM, everyone. So basically, as you mentioned, I'm Vinay from Mauritius. Brief introduction about myself just for other participants to get familiar with. And I want this session to be quite interactive. If someone at the background can help in to coordinate, the charts and tell me whether there are questions, etc., so that we can move ahead. Maybe I'll disrupt a bit the program because it's 45 minutes of presentation, and then after that we'll have the question and answer session. But then let's make it interactive. Okay, I don't want it to be boring this afternoon, right? So this is a brief introduction about myself. As you rightly said, I'm from the Hindi background. I've been teaching at the university here at Mahatma Gandhi Institute for over 22 years now, until I created this company called Silka. So I've taught a variety of subjects from language, literature to educational leadership, management, communication, and all. So I've been like with this company, it's more like we are helping institutions, precisely secondary and tertiary institutions, nationally and worldwide also, to embark on the path of digital technologies. So we basically do an impact assessment with the managers of the institutions and then try to find out whether what is not correctly working or whether the institution has the zeal to adapt to new technologies and all. right? So that's basically what we do, and we are very much into content creation. We are creating contents. I think someone raised his hand. Is there anything you want to add before I proceed? Uh, can I continue? Do let me know. Can I continue, Viditiji?
Sure, sir. You can continue. If any of the participants have any queries, they can put it in the chat box directly.
Okay. Right. So in today's session, we are going to talk about the teaching and learning challenges in the digital era. What's happening right now? What are the issues? What are the challenges in today's time? And then after that, we'll try to understand what is meant by digital learning resources and open and educational resources. So since I found from the survey, from the responses you sent via the Google form, that a vast majority, probably around 27 to 30%, are not well aware about OERs and digital resources. That's why at the last minute, I had to reformulate the presentation and make it more basic type so that the message can be understood by one and all. And after that, we'll shed some light on some models and guidelines for preparing digital learning resources and OERs. And if time permits, by the end of this webinar, I would much love to talk about sharing of experience of the kind of work that we have been doing here in Mauritius. Maybe that can inspire others also who can engage into more collaborations, right? So let me start very softly with some brainstorming. I presume that most of you are lecturers from different institutions. You are teachers. So one basic question just to brainstorm: what are the current challenges in the teaching and learning process these days? I would love to hear from you. What are the kind of challenges you are currently facing in the teaching and learning process? It can be for any subject, any area, any discipline. So if someone wants to intervene, feel free, or you can send me a message on the chats, then we can take it over from there. So anyone for the challenges? What are the challenges? No one. Let's make it interactive. Viditi, I think I don't have access to the chats while I'm presenting online. No one? So I understand that there are no challenges, right? Everything is all good. Yes, Saida, please. Please feel free to talk. Because I'll need some feedback so that I can move ahead. I want to customize this presentation. So if anyone can allow Saida to share her views on the challenges in the teaching and learning process these days. Can someone from the technical side allow Saida to talk?
Sure, sir. Just a second, please. Just a second.
Yeah. Thank you. Or if they can send it on the chat also, so that someone can read it over to me, because I'm not getting. Yes.
Yeah, I think I can now speak. Hello, my name is Saida. I'm from Uzbekistan. And this year I've started to work at the university as an EAP instructor. And I worked with 5 different groups. And while working with them, I had some challenges working with them. So one of them is the first important was gender. And then the second one was background because among my students, there were some students who never left Uzbekistan. And there were some of them who traveled and even lived abroad, especially there were some who lived in America. Background knowledge, their speaking skill, because my module was public speaking and presentation skills course. And besides that, there was gender, the difference and the problem in gender, because when we were having like group presentations and debates, like some female students, they were reluctant to work with male students. And the level of their English as well, it was challenge. And the motivation, I would say, maybe in they are the students who came right after the finishing the school. They were like new. It was difficult to interact, to engage. Like they were all the time like showing reluctance in pair work, group work. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. So what I can note is that, thank you, Saida, for this reply. I think that you have rightly pointed out we have to see the challenges in a contextual manner. So in Pakistan, where you are teaching, gender probably as obviously can be one of the challenges in teaching, and then the field that you are engaged into is public speaking. So but what could you deduct from all these challenges? What could be the probable solutions for the basic challenges? Saida? Or anyone else? So
Yeah.
Please go ahead.
Yeah. Right. The third lesson, their task was group presentation. And there I faced this first challenge. And after that, I decided to organize some activities within the class so that like they could work together with boys and girls sitting together and so on. Yeah, and I gave them a lot of like projects during the classes so that they had to work together. And then actually by the end of the course, they have become very good friends. Yeah, there was some period when the problem was that because like they have different majors. And in my class, all the students are coming from different majors. You see, for example, from international relations, from economics, from education. As far as they are not doing their major courses together, in my course, they were just new to each other. So that's why it was a little bit at the beginning challenging to interact them. But later on, I could make them.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, thank you for that, Saida. So you've come rightly to what I wanted to hear. It's actually that collaboration is the solution. So what I'm going to talk about today on OERs and digital learning resources, at the end of the day, it's all about collaborating, it's all about sharing. And you'll see while doing so, your whole classroom becomes so elevated, in the sense that there is a kind of sharing in that atmosphere, right? So let me proceed with the context of teaching and learning. As you all know, most probably most of you are from the education side. So on one side, you have the teacher, the one who is passing on the content and the materials, etc. And then you have the receiver and you have the learner. And in between, what makes the difference in today's time is the teaching strategies. So teaching strategies need to be dynamic. They need to be, in the sense, very much up to date, so that you can achieve the desired learning objectives and all. And by that side, you have your resource materials, which are your textbooks and your contents and your notes and lecture notes, PPTs, etc. So all these are there. And a final point that has joined this scenario is digital technologies. So we are living in a world of digital technologies. Our users, our learners are making the maximum use of their digital devices and all. So as teachers, as academic, it should not be like a burden upon us, but it should be like a smooth transition towards adopting such technologies. So let me bring you to what's happening globally. So if you have a look at the Holland IQ website, the co-founder of which is Dr. Maria Spice, with whom I've been interacting for quite some time, and we've been sharing ideas. So I highly recommend you to read that 60 pages full report. Maybe I'll share it with you later on. It's about education in 2030. So she works a lot with the edtech, edtechs in different countries, edtech Europe, Asia, India, and above all, she's been engaged into creating scenarios for future learning and talent. So what her research has demonstrated is that from the education trends, most of the learners and also the teachers are making optimum use of their digital devices, mobile phones and other devices. Learning is at a gateway right now of being personalized. So our learners, at the end of the day, in today's time, they have this mindset of what that learning that you're passing on to me will bring to my personal growth or personal expansion. So this is the focus on that. And there is a disaggregation, that is learning is segmented into different parts, and we are teaching in bits and segments and all. Learning also has a social perspective, and then lots of games and all that. So among the digital 5 forces, you have mobility, you have big data, lots of use of social media and the cloud system, and AI and robotics and all. So just to give you an idea of where we are trending and what are the results, as you can see from this research, that there is a need for improving our learning outcomes. There is a need to improve the learner's experience, because we cannot keep on moving with the same traditional way of teaching. There is a need of widening access to education, which joins the UNESCO goals for education for all. So there's also the need for efficiency within educational institutions and processes. So we are talking about those educational institutions which need to revamp themselves, which need to go through some systemic change, so that they bring in efficiency, they bring in quality assurance mechanisms and all. So from the user's perspective, you see that we need to engage more our users, our learners, in the learning and teaching process that we are moving ahead with. In terms of user feedback, you see, the more feedback you have from your learners, this will help you to more revalorize your teaching strategies, revalorize your content, and revalorize your delivery, the way you deliver those contents. So this is actually the research which I wanted to share with you. But coming back to your situation, my situation, or any academic, any teacher in today's time, there are some serious issues that we need to address in our teaching and learning process. So the very first step is to understand the real gaps in education. That's why I ask you, what are the challenges? So what are the gaps in education? We need to consider for innovation in education. That's very important. It's the talk of the town, talk of the day, and also including digital resources and other OERs. There is a theory which is called disruptive innovation in education theory. So I provided a link. Maybe later on you can go and watch a video on that on YouTube. And it's high time for us to disrupt what's happening in order to remain sustainable. So I'll again request Viditi or Anubhavaji, if there are some questions, just feel free to pop in, and then just feel free to let me know, so that this doesn't become boring again, as I said earlier. Right, so the goal of the day for a teaching and learning process is about rethinking. We have to rethink about what? Rethink about our methodologies, about our teaching strategies, rethink about how we are delivering, rethink about the tools that we are using, rethink about reorganizing our classroom, rethink about representing our core contents, that is textbooks and contents, etc. We have to revisit certain mechanisms, certain structures. That's very important. And then redefine what we have been doing so far. That's essential. Redefine our own status as a lecturer, as a teacher of 2022, post-COVID. As you've seen, that was a changing paradigm shift for many educational institutions. So have we redefined ourselves? What are our new roles? What are the expectations of our students from us? And the golden word is collaborate. Without collaboration, we cannot go further. We'll stagnate simply. So in that sense, what we can see globally these days is that we are moving from a teacher-centered approach to a more learner-centered approach. Here at the University of Mauritius, we have adopted this learner-centered approach, in the sense that the lecture, the classroom lectures have become very minimal, and it's more about engaging our students into activities, into field works, into project work, into all sorts of creative and innovative ways of getting them deliver on certain topics, thematics, etc. So learner-centeredness has its whole set of advantages, as I'll not be able to relate all to you. So I'll share this PowerPoint with you. You can have a more relaxed focus on this. Coming back to the 21st century skills and the competencies. Now, what are we called upon to do in our task, in our daily task? We have to create our learners to become more adaptable to situations, to current problems. So adaptability should be in focus. Peer reviewing is very important. The myth of being in a black box, like in the education term, we call that the teacher alone being in the class and manages to do anything as per he or she wishes. But it's high time to have peer reviews. You have colleagues reviewing your own work, your own style of teaching, and then inspiring or learning from them, or sharing your best methods with them. Enhanced technology is another aspect that we have to make maximum use of. Innovation and creativity, that's an integral part. As I said earlier, sharing of ideas and resources, and to have a more kind of reflective approach. Well, to start with, some basic questions that should keep on rolling in your mind while we go ahead with this webinar. Question number one, what are digital resources or digital learning resources, OERs? Question number two, how are DLRs and OERs important in teaching and learning? And question number three, what makes teaching and learning become effective, and how to engage our learners interactively as question 4. I think Adil raised his hand. Adil, do you have a question or do you want to share something? Feel free, huh? Or just interact with one of the hosts, Aditi or Anubha, so that they can notify me if there's something, if someone wants to intervene. Feel free to intervene. So I'm talking about disruptive theory in education. So feel free to disrupt the system. Feel free to disrupt the method that I'm presenting. Just be interactive, right? When we talk about digital learning resources and OERs, so the very first thing we need to ask ourselves, who are our learners? Number 2, what to use in terms of content? Number 3, where to find those contents? Number 4, how to use the DLRs and OERs. So it all, it's like a system that has started to function within our head before we start to make use of the digital learning resources. Now let me share the responses of most of the participants who have replied to the Google survey on digital learning resources and OERs. So basically there were 5 questions plus 6 questions on that. And I thank you all for being responsive and for taking time to reply to those questions. And that gives us an idea of where we stand and where we have to move. So question number 1 was, have you ever heard about OERs and digital resources? Among 174 responses, I think so far there are 186 responses. So among those responses, most of you said yes. Practically 18.4% said no and don't know, a very minimal number of people. So for those who, I'm very much concerned with those who said that they have never heard about OERs. It's right time now. You are hearing it from me. Now go online, start searching. You have tons of materials online about OERs and digital resources. So it's high time to get started. Question number 2, do you think that using OERs and digital resources makes teaching learning effective and impactful? 92% said yes, and maybe you have a certain number of people, and no, very minimal. So we'll see how using digital learning resources and OERs make our learning impactful and effective. Later on, we'll see that. So which types of OERs basically most of you are using? It's educational videos, so which you can find freely. See, this PowerPoint is an OER, which you'll get after that. The video recording that's going on and the live streaming on YouTube of this webinar is an open educational resource. So the moment you agree to share a content, to share a video, anything, it becomes an OER whenever it goes on the public domain. And following that, most of you are using PowerPoints, which is very good. Ebooks, quite some of you are using, and then visuals, photographs, sound materials, and other created digital resources. So how often do you receive support or give support to your peers in preparing OERs? 41% said always, and 46% said sometimes. So it's time now to start finding the reasons which stop us from getting support from our peers or receiving support from them. Ask, thou shalt receive, as they say. So we have to consider this also. And then the fifth question was, do you think there is an increasing gap between teaching strategies of academics and the expectation of today's students? So definitely most of you have agreed that there are gaps. And these gaps are our starting point. We should start enlisting those gaps so that we can be able to focus on probable solutions to minimize those gaps in the future. And to what extent are you interested in using OERs and digital resources in your teaching and learning process? 113% said highly interested. And then you have 6 people who say that no, they are not at all interested. Right. Let's come back to defining OERs and educational resources. So if it is listening to me, please let me know when my time is almost over. 3 minutes before my time is over, do let me know. All right. So how do we define an open educational resource? As per UNESCO, open educational resources are learning, teaching, and research materials in any format. It can be in any form, any format and medium that reside in the public domain. That is, it goes public, it is an open source, or are under certain copyright systems that have been released under an open license that permit no cost access for reusing. So you can take any material online, or whoever has created it and has brought it to the public domain for reusing it, repurposing it, and adapting it and redistributing it. So that's the sharing of content creation. But of course, we have to take note about certain aspects, which I'll talk a bit later. The 2012 Paris OER Declaration confirms what I just said, is that everyone has the right to education, and they are more concerned, among the resolutions were that they were more concerned towards those developing nations, those countries that are not yet on the path of development, and for their citizens, for their learners, so that there's a sharing of these contents and they can benefit from that. So a couple of examples can be in terms of curriculum. In OERs, you can have your full courses, course modules, materials, syllabi, and textbooks, pedagogical materials. In learning activities, you can have homework, assignments, project quizzes, etc. Multimedia, you have games, you have simulations, that is using AI and all, streaming videos and podcasts, etc. And in other OERs, you can have charts, diagrams, models, and frameworks, and flow charts, and contents on the media, and historical contents, etc. So these are the basic types of digital learning resources. You can find texts, which are free to use, online articles, ebooks, research, manuals, reports, etc. You can have graphics in terms of photos, paintings, drawings, cartoons, illustrations, and then audio, like podcasts, SoundCloud, voice recordings, audio tracks, and talking books, videos, streaming videos, educational videos, animations, simulations, and games also. Right. So the very basic question is, why should one go for digital learning resources and open educational resources? So firstly is to increase knowledge. Knowledge is the prime factor of human development in today's time, and it should extend to one and all. Number 2 is to increase our experience. We learn from others' experience. So a teacher will learn from another teacher's experience, and in that sense, you will not have to reinvent the wheel. So the thing has already been done. You take from what was right, what was wrong, and then you move on with that. This is the basics of OERs. And thirdly is to innovate in terms of innovative and techno-pedagogical strategies in teaching and learning process. So there's a whole set of reasons why we should be using digital learning resources, because it is relevant, they are regularly updated, they engage our learners, we move into expanded learning opportunities, the personalized learning, easier monitoring of students' progress. It allows for immediate feedback. That's very important. And most of all, facilitates collaborative learning. So what are the features? How would you understand that this thing that I've come across online is an OER? The first feature of it is findable. It can be in multiple locations. You can find it anywhere. It can be from a simple created video to the good morning messages that you receive on WhatsApp every day, to certain codes, to certain videos, a small story or document text. It can be anything, and it can be in multiple locations. It is clearly licensed. We'll talk about the Creative Commons in a while. Trustworthy, that is, you can find the source of it. Modifiable, you can modify the content and then adapt it as per your usage, let's say, objectives. It is freestanding, that is, it doesn't assume knowledge of other resources. It is in itself, it's a good chunk of content. Free from copyright, yet we have to display certain attributions at times. And usability, it is being used or recommended by users. And imperfect, that is, it just needs to work for you. That is, you have to customize that content and see how you will use it in certain situations. Among the benefits of the DLRs and OERs, it is easily accessible, can be retrieved from any source. You have the freedom to use it. There are no restrictions. It is very affordable in terms of cost, and especially proponents of OERs talk about the high cost of textbooks these days. So going for ebooks, going for online contents helps students get easy access to these contents. There are avenues and opportunities for collaboration with them. So repositories for future educators, like whatever I'm sharing today, part of it or most of it or all of this content can be reused. You can use it in your class, you can use it to share with your colleagues, and then as such learning goes on. And it is potentially beneficial to developing nations, as mentioned by the Paris Convention. And it increases visibility, and it can also help you to engage into education entrepreneurship, like the kind of work I'm doing these days. But you have to be very, very, very careful while using the DLRs. We need to check the accuracies. It's very important. Check the accuracy about it. It may not meet the accessibility requirements for users with disabilities. So when we talk about inclusivity in education, OERs can somewhat help, but not fully. There might be some technical hindrances, like some OERs may require specific software. It may need a high degree of customization. You need to customize a lot, rework the whole thing. Teachers sometimes may not be rewarded by systems for their efforts. This I've seen from my experience, that those who are very much engaged into creating OERs, they are not very much rewarded by the systems, by institutions, by the superiors, probably because those people do not value or do not understand the real importance of OERs. And there's a lack of motivation also, because at times you can't devote hours and hours in creating or customizing a small piece of content. So support is also quite minimal from certain institutions, and there are no logistics and basic fundings that are provided. When we talk about the Creative Commons license, these are licenses that have been attributed in different formats for all the content. So the chart is in front of you. I will request you to have a thorough look later on this chart. Whenever you are searching for something online or from Google Images, or let's say from YouTube or any video, any content, just make sure to understand which type of licenses, if there is any license, copyright kind of thing, which type of license is it regulated by? And then while using that content for your teaching or for any other purpose, maybe commercial, also personal use, so you'll need to attribute, you need to acknowledge those contents. This was an activity which I wanted you to do. I'm sorry, but since I think we don't have much time, Viditi, are you there? I think we have quite limited time. So this is the idea scavenger hunt, where we will need to be highly creative. So one simple question that I ask you is, which two products or devices or tools could be brought together for the first time to create one product which will help you in your teaching and learning activity? So you can use any two thing, I don't know, maybe a toothbrush with a device in that. So that the idea can be very abstract, but you need to be very creative. So later on, maybe we can discuss more about this. Since I have limited time, we'll go directly about your situation, my situation. Where do I start from while using digital learning resources? So there are a couple of steps or ways of moving ahead with digital learning resources and OERs. What we talk about these days is about design thinking and other models. So this helps us to create modules, notes, and lectures, activities, discussion boards, etc. And we can use tools and other software to create our own resource, like MS Office and PowerPoint. For me is the one software that does it all. So I create most of my resources via PowerPoint. So a good understanding of PowerPoint gives you an array of opportunities to move ahead with this. Then you have a video editing software, and you have video recordings and mobile laptops and devices and all. Thirdly, you can search for online resources and adapt them to your needs. So there are a series of resources where you can find. And then support and logistics. So identify collaborators, seek for technical support, and then upskill yourself. That's very important. So learn, and keep learning. For those who have heard about the design thinking model, so I find this very useful in the preparation of digital resources. So what does design thinking in general tell us? It's about empathizing. That is, you observe, you see where the needs are, do some primary work, groundwork, research, etc. of any project. Or let's say, well, we are creating digital resources. Then you define the contents, which is very important. You need to define the contents, the strategies, and how you are planning to innovate or change the concept. Like, for example, I don't know if there is a small formula in mathematics that is quite difficult to teach or for learners to understand. Well, rethink about it, define it properly, and then use your creativity and innovation and see if anyone else in a different institution has used it in a different manner so that it gets more understandable. So we have to define and then ideate. So ideate, it's more then you move towards collaborative sessions, you share ideas and experiences, and then you come up with a schema, a prototype, and you use that model to experiment, to design, to conceptualize whatever content you are creating. And then at the end, you test it. So you present your OERs to the learner, you gather feedback, and then you remodel it after that. So this is one method that you can use to create your own OERs. A second model, which is more for online teaching and e-learning, is called the ADI model. So ADI is analyze, design, develop, implement, and evaluate. So while we use this model basically to create online courses, like going for MOOCs, massive open online contents, so or some private contents, etc. So this is the second model that can be used. I personally like to use this maze conceptualization cycle, which is very simple, but quite deep in itself. You start by conceptualizing, that is, students are exposed to certain ideas. So it's all like the brainstorming session that you've been doing, so with your students. So the awareness is created, and then after meeting with the students, after having interactions with them, now you're coming with some content in front. Then you start to construct. So it is a learning activity. Now you construct your online tasks, your activities, or your PowerPoints, or your blogs, or whatever presentations. Then following that, it's the dialogue side of it, where communication and feedback is very important. A very simple model, a fourth one, is the EIA model, which is you engage your students, you identify the challenges, and then you adopt and adapt. So very simple. Engaging students in activities, then you have feedback from them, you see where the challenges, where are the hiccups, where are the issues, and then try to rework on that, and then readopt, rework on your content. So my first PowerPoint, after having some feedback from my participants, I can re-adopt it and readapt it to make it better. This one is a very simple model, so which I like to use. It's the identify, select, create, and adapt model in creating OERs. So the very first thing you need to identify, what are my learning objectives? I'm sitting now today, let's say next week, I have a class on X topic. So I need to identify the learning objectives and the nature of learning resources, what I have, right? So what I'm going to present, what will be my content, identify everything, the learning objectives, what will be my intended goals. And after that, I select. So I try to find where the contents are online, keep searching. The purpose of it should generate that idea. And after receiving a couple of contents online, I'll try to merge them. That is, I create, reuse, or recreate. And after that, I adapt and use that, and then create my own content. So in terms of teaching methods for digital learning, you have the MOOCs, which probably most of you have heard about that. Mobile learning through mobile phones, virtual classroom, and social learning also is very important. If we have time, I wanted you to hear a couple of participants. Feel free, you can talk. It can be in any language, Hindi, French, English, any language. So far, I can understand the basics of that. So I wanted you to reflect on like a key learning concept or the topic that you are teaching, right? Where you feel that there is a possibility or there is a need to create a digital resource or an OER out of it. So if I'm clear, I would give you some 3 to 5 minutes, let's say. I would much love to hear from you, your experience. Quite briefly, explain to me any component that you've been teaching and you think that an OER can help you in that. Over to you. Huh? Feel free, anyone who wants to intervene. VDT, I'm still having some issues with the chats, probably because I'm presenting. I don't know, because initially I had access to the chats, but when I started sharing, I could not get.
Sir, I really don't know that why you're not having any access to the chats, but I do have few questions for you that are being asked by the participants.
Can you speak a bit louder, because I can't, I hear you from very far. Yeah.
All right, so now am I audible?
Yeah, that's okay.
All right, sir. So I have received few questions for you from the participants.
Please go ahead.
So first question is, what may be the possible ways to get the support of colleagues in creating OERs?
Okay, right. So the one who has asked it is it's either you go one-to-one, approach those who are within your networking, or use a strong base of networking that will help you to get connected to those who are already in the field or those who are already using that. The second thing is at institutional level. I think it's high time for all institutions to have a kind of a center or a department or a small unit where they deal with gathering OERs or helping academics to facilitate or to get connected with OERs in the areas of the institution. So at institutional level also, some mechanisms can be established for that. I hope I could answer the question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much.
Okay.
So second question is, can technology replace the role of teacher?
This is the one of the most conventional questions. Technology will never replace the teacher. Be assured about that. It will never replace the teacher, but it always supplements what you've been doing. So the teacher remains at the focus. The teacher is always there. The teacher is the one who is doing the churning. जैसे हम लोग हिंदी में समुद्र मंथन कहते हैं, तो मंथन is like you do the churning, but there should be someone who is doing that churning. Contents by themselves cannot come to you or go to the learners. So there should be a medium, and the teacher is the one who fills the gap. Technology will always elevate the teachers in updating, in innovating in his teaching strategies. So rest assured, it will never replace the teacher. Yes. Third one?
So one more question. Can resources change our profession? Why and how?
Can resources change
our profession? Why and how?
Okay, yeah, that's an interesting question. Not resources, but the way we develop our approaches, our mindsets towards resources. Say, I give you a very concrete example. I'm someone from the Hindi side. I did my BA and MA Hindi from the University of Delhi. Then I completed my PhD here in Hindi at the University of Mauritius. But then, I always wanted to go multidisciplinary. And by having such a mindset, I started landing on areas which were very alien to me previously, or very alien, let's say, in inverted commas, to the Hindi academics. So then I said that, no, let me try to understand what are these resources. I started by blogs. I started then having a notion of the MS Office and mastering PowerPoint presentations and creating PowerPoints. Then I started mastering educational videos, you see. So day by day, and then I've done over 50, 60 trainings globally with academics, mostly from India, from different universities, in e-learning, in online learning strategies, in online assessments and evaluation, and all these. So you see, these are the resources, but the way I tackle them, the way I got connected to them today is defining myself. After completing 22 years at the university and then taking my retirement, now I'm working hard with this company that I've created, and we are very much into that. You see, so it can, you never know, it can change your profession. It can make you, in today's time, we're talking about global education entrepreneurship. Global education entrepreneurship. So that's an area where I think we need to start focusing. Right? Next question.
So one more question. Can technology and digital media leads to diminish the innovative power of learners, as they can easily depend on internet for their study-related answers?
I missed the first part of the question, Viditi. Would you mind repeating it?
Can technology and digital media leads to diminish the innovative power of learners?
Increase the power of learners, you mean?
No, sir. Diminish the innovative power.
No, if used carefully, if you are using any content with the learning objectives very clear in mind, with topping up to what your main content is, right? Using that OER to supplement that, I don't think it will diminish the interest or the attention of the learner. Instead, it will increase their attention, because an OER will help the learner to be more engaged, to be more attracted towards it, and be it visually or by sound or by images or by any format, they will feel very much connected. And on top of all, let's understand very well, who are our learners? Who are the learners of the 21st century? That's important. Yes, Viditi. Can I proceed?
Yes, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Yeah. So I leave this activity. I don't know if anyone wants to intervene. Do you suggest that I continue? And then by the end, we'll...
Sure, sir. You can continue, and then if the questions get arise, so I'll ask them to you.
Okay, just let me know. Just unmute yourself and then start talking. Right? Thank you, Viditi. Right. So I leave this activity for you. Try to think about it, and then maybe later on you have my email. We can discuss further on that. So when we talk about OERs, and this slide will answer the last question that Viditi just asked, one of the participants' question, is through digital learning resources and OERs, we are creating leadership, and which is very much important. In education, you talk about teacher leadership, student leadership, and all these. So digital learning resources help the teacher to become a more profound and a more sustained leader. So teacher leadership is one of the areas where the teacher becomes confident step by step. You see, just remember any teacher I always take the example of my mother in her 60s. Some 5 years back, she had a compulsion of using WhatsApp. She never knew about that, never had a smartphone before that, but until my sister moved to Canada, so she had to connect with her. So you should start having a compulsion. You should start having, what is the need of the day, right? Then she started mastering WhatsApp. Now she is very well at ease with WhatsApp. So that has boosted the confidence. Similarly, for any teacher, don't feel afraid. Don't underestimate your own capabilities. That's very important. The confidence will come step by step, gradually. So you will see day by day, you'll start mastering the technical skills, and you will find yourself innovating and then apply it. We are in a world of experiential learning. So, and this is what our learners are expecting from us, the approach, the outlook, new outlook of teaching, to make them become more proactive in their learning, right? So in terms of student leadership, the students definitely takes ownership of their content. So they start having a sense of belonging, because in terms of visually appealing contents, they will find themselves directly connected to that, instead of, a very conventional way of teaching. The learning objectives also will broaden, and OERs provide you with a lot of activity-based approaches. So output-oriented skills are developed there. And then the third is, in terms of leadership, is educational leadership, where the promotion of skills, competencies, experiences, life skills, problem solving, creativity, innovation, and all that's about 21st century skills happen to develop through the digital learning resources and OERs. So at the end of the day, it's the institution, the university, that is the winner in that sense, right? So another area which I wanted your attention to be drawn is enhancing creativity through OERs. So, you become creative. There is no way out that you can't be creative when you are using OERs. So it helps you being flexible. You cross boundaries and make remote associations. Now, Mauritius is connected with your university. I'm connected with you people, the participants from different, I've seen from different backgrounds. We are connected. So there's a flexibility, and we can have remote associations. We develop our creativity in that sense. Originality is also the ability to be different in ideas and actions and strategies as compared to others. And then fluency, the ability to come up with many diverse ideas quickly and then put them into practice. Now, this is, I'll be very quick on this. It is the Mauritian experience. I wanted to share that with you, and with that I'll probably end this presentation. So it's creating OERs, the digital educational videos. I've been concentrating more into the production of educational videos, and I'm going to share the experience. It all happened in 2020, where during the COVID-19 pandemic confinement here, lockdown period in Mauritius, all schools, everything were closed. And I was called upon to shoulder responsibilities as project coordinator to create videos for primary students, primary education students, grade 1 to grade 6 here in Mauritius, in all the Asian languages: Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Marathi, Urdu, modern Chinese. So no one had any idea how it should go. So there was that churning process that went on. The creativity unveiled itself. So I had to think hard day and night, and then came up with a planning kind of thing. Then I had to gather all the team leaders. I had to communicate with the ministry people, my team members and technicians and public in general. So we finally gathered some 150 educators and technicians and graphic artists and all to work on this project and to produce educational videos which were daily broadcast on the different channels of the national television here for about 2.5 months. So 148 people worked on this mega project, and we had our assistant coordinators and subject coordinators, reviewers, technicians. So a very strong and detailed planning I had to do with that. And after that, there's a video. Maybe I'll share it with you later on that. So let's forget this video for now. I had to prepare workflows, which became an OER, which became a framework for others to use how to produce educational videos. So I had to prepare daily processes and mechanisms. So what would be my instructions to coordinators? How will I communicate to them? Because everyone was confined at home. So what will be the instructions for the graphic designers and digital content creation? How will I empower the educators to create videos and all? So until the final product was sent to the national television. So the whole kind of documentation and reporting was done. So I had various kind of files, as you can see the reporting side of it. So the videos with the timings and all the instructions and everything, and the documentation process. We had to submit reports daily, lots of files and all that. So by the end, we happened to produce 1,537 educational videos within a span of 2.5 months. So that was a great achievement, and our educators were so much empowered and so much enthusiastic that they did all this on a voluntary basis, just using their laptops at home, using their mobile phones, using their voice recorders, and creating PowerPoints and converting them into videos. So that was the whole story of it. And later on, based on feedback, so many parents would want to have those videos or contents and talk to the educators. So I created this platform on Facebook, which is called Teaching of Asian Languages in Mauritius, Talim. So on that, you have certain contents which are there and parents interacting with educators. Now moving to the recommendations and the final slide of this webinar. So I'm using what is called the IDEO Creative Difference Model, which are meant for the 6 qualities of innovation, so that your institution or your university can start thinking about adopting digital learning resources and other OERs in teaching and learning process. So first, the very first step will be to identify what is the purpose, why will you do that, why the need, which I've talked earlier in this presentation. And then experimentation is very important. You experiment, that is you try to start creating drafts, creating formats, creating models. That's very important. Empowerment is very important. So what you are doing right now through this webinar, empowering colleagues out there. So empowerment, capacity building and all. Then looking out is that you move beyond your university, move beyond your institution, see what's happening in other universities in India, see what's happening in the region, see what's happening globally, and then try to seek collaboration. Collaborations can be one-to-one collaboration, and it can be institutional collaboration. Then you move ahead with the refinement and creation of your own digital learning resources and OERs, for which you can make a repository of that, a repertoire, as you say. So make a repertoire, and then that will be helpful for anyone who can use that. So to conclude today's webinar, so there are three things that we need to highlight. It's through open educational resources and digital learning resources, we engage our learners in active learning, which is very essential of today's time. So it promotes active learning, and then it caters for the diverse needs of all our learners and prepare them, most importantly, because by the end of the day, our learners will need to be integrated into society wherever they are. They will engage into a job market. So there'll be challenges they'll be facing, and these OERs might probably help them. And then it helps in attaining our learning goals. That is, it provides us with means and tools to achieve learning goals by making knowledge products available to a maximum number of users, and ultimately helping others in expanding their knowledge. So by the end of the day, we are abiding to UNESCO's and all those global visions to help others in knowledge. So that's, as we call, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. So the world is a family, and global village, we call it. So sharing is the prime element on that, right? So with this, I thank you very much. I know I've exceeded my time, but I hope that these ideas were quite useful or will be useful to all of you. And I'm here to attend any questions if you have. And I'd like to thank Dr. Nishi Sharma, the principal of CTE, and Dr. Viditi Rastogi and Unbhaji and the whole team who have organized this webinar. And my best wishes for the coming e-conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words, and also for your valuable insights and for broadening our outlook on the topic. Sir, I also have received few more questions while you were explaining the remaining slides of the PPT.
Yes, sure.
So one question is, it has been witnessed that through virtual teaching, students are not concentrating properly and are using other apps during lectures. Any best alternative strategy to make them attentive?
Yeah, so there are lots of strategies. First of all, let us ask ourselves the questions. In a regular classroom setup, are all our students attentive? So is it like the situation that everyone is listening to us, but listening and hearing are two different things, right? They might be hearing us, but they are not listening to us, right? So there are lots of engaging activities. One of the models which I presented earlier for creating OERs is you have to engage our students into activities. Whenever there are distractions, whenever there are, interruptions in between the lecture or anything in virtual classrooms, so hang on, just make a pause and then set an activity. Set an activity where they will definitely need to be responsive. And there are a number of activities in that sense. I hope I could answer the question.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much. So before I proceed to the next question, I actually want to request all the participants to kindly turn on their cameras so that we can take a screenshot of the session. All the participants are once again requested to kindly please switch on your cameras and wait for 2 minutes.
So here they are switching on their cameras, right? So meanwhile, Viditi, you can share the PDF with all the participants, and then we can keep on interacting. You see, as knowledge is for sharing, so let's keep interacting, and then let's see how we can further collaborate or share knowledge which we have, you know, from the learning side and then the teaching side also.
All right, so thank you to all the participants. You can now again switch off your cameras if you wish to. And now, sir, again, I would like to move towards the next question that have been asked. So next question is, what is the difference between DLRs and OERs?
Okay, so basically when we talk about digital learning resources, it's anything that helps us increase our knowledge, right? DLRs are broader. They are broader. They can be anything. And when DLRs, this is, I don't know if this term exists, but digital resources exist. And I try to coin that into DLRs. But digital resources is not meant for formal learning precisely. It can be for informal learning. It can be any resource. I'm going and then I just receive a video or I receive a recording from a friend somehow, somewhere near the seaside. That can be a digital resource for me. But when I use that DLRs for some specific learning objectives and goals, that becomes an open and educational resource. So DLR can be, you can send a digital learning resource to a friend only and ask him not to share with anyone else. But an open educational resource will always be in the public domain, right? So it will always be accessible. The accessibility of OER is far greater than a DLR.
All right, sir. Thank you. One more last question. Can you please explain the meaning of freestanding feature of an effective OER?
I could not hear that. Can you repeat that?
Kindly explain the meaning of freestanding feature of an effective OER.
Freestanding feature.
Yes, sir.
Freestanding feature. Okay, freestanding means it is there by itself. So in itself, it is complete. Sorry, like we say, you can have a voice recording of 20 seconds on a certain topic, but that 20-second voice recording is complete in itself. So it is freestanding. You can take it from there and then add more voice recording in that and then make it customized to your own use, right? So that's it.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. So these were the questions received from the participants. Now, before I call Dr. Viditi Rastogi, the coordinator of the session for delivering the vote of thanks, I request all the participants to kindly fill the feedback link. The link is being shared in the Zoom chat box. You can search it there. And now I would like to invite Dr. Viditi Rastogi, the coordinator of the session, for delivering the vote of thanks.
Thank you, Ranima. Thank you so much. A warm and grateful greetings to our honorable speaker, Dr. Vinay Kumar Dutt, our national and international participants, faculty members, and everyone who are attending this international webinar. It's my privilege to propose a vote of thanks on behalf of ITM and acknowledge the contribution of those who really work hard to make this event successful. Obviously, this webinar has been a great success so far. It has imparted a lot of knowledge to all of us. I, Ms. Viditi Rastogi, on behalf of ITM, would like to convey my sincere thanks to our honorable speaker, Dr. Vinay Kumar Dutt, who spared his valuable time for us and made this 1 hour full of knowledge for us. Sir, we really have no words to offer our gratitude for your wonderful presentation. Your knowledge and experiences have given us a deep insight into the digital resources and OER and its usage, and have revealed some interesting facts. Thank you so much, sir. I also convey my heartiest thanks to our International E-Conference Advisory Council member, Professor Mahima Gupta, Amity University, Greater Noida, who introduced us to Dr. Vinay Kumar Dutt to conduct this academic activity. Also, I convey my special thanks to our all national and international participants for attending this webinar attentively and clarifying their doubts and putting their queries. Thank you so much to all our participants. I am also very thankful to the management of the IPM Institute, who always provides its full support to conduct such academic activities and motivates its faculty members to propose and organize these academic activities. And I am also thankful to our principal, Dr. Rishi Sharma, whose guidance always enlightens our path. She is attending the webinar, but at this time she is in meeting. So I am here for this opportunity. Now, I would also like to thank all our team members who support to conduct this webinar. Ms. Anubha to moderate the session successfully. Ms. Supriya to handle the Zoom meeting and its live streaming on YouTube efficiently. Dr. Shweta Tyagi, Dr. Neeta Garg, Dr. Jamala Singh, Mr. Mohit Bharti, Mr. Pradeep Kumar Sharma, Mr. Ajay Tyagi, and Mr. Dev Tyagi for all their technical support and to handle the work behind the screen successfully. We all worked hard as a team to make this webinar happen. Thank you to all my team members. The feedback link is shared in the Zoom chat box and the YouTube chat box. The Zoom meeting will be live for the next 5 minutes. You can fill the feedback form, and the certificates will be generated with the help of the feedback form. So kindly be sure, please fill the feedback form. Thank you, sir. Thank you to all my participants and my team members. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. God bless you all.
The Zoom link will be open for next 5 minutes. You can fill the feedback link meanwhile. We can share the feedback link once more in the Zoom chat box.
So,
Meanwhile, I request the participants to kindly just one more time on their camera so that we can take the screenshot one again. All the participants are requested to turn on their cameras, please. I request the technical team to kindly let me know when the screenshot is being taken. All right, thank you very much to all the participants. You can now turn off your cameras and fill the feedback link.